God, you're there! Yes, I am.
Of Abraham, as I have learned to do. It took quite a bit of God's doing to get me to fear him, because I used to be an atheist back when I was 10 years old. I started my rebellion against God, and I only got in one person's face one time, and I learned after that not to do that because it got to my heart. The person was stunned when I said what I said. That's in the book, and we'll get to that maybe some other time. So, like, subscribe, and ring that bell, because we've got a lot of videos to go through, and it's going to be dealing with heaven. It's going to be dealing with my 3.5 minutes in hell. I got to talk to a rich man in hell for 3.5 minutes when I was a 19-year-old atheist, and Einstein Rosenbridge portals. I mean, God spoke to me through a portal. When I asked him for 5 minutes in heaven, he got furious with me about it, but he gave it to me. He said, but let me cut to the quick. By the first time I put my faith into God, I was in the Air National Guard at the time, and they sent me to a trip to Keesler Air Force Base. So I drove from California to Mississippi in a 73 Firebird. And that was a long trip in an old car, let me tell you. And got there, and I did during my 6 months of training. I was still an atheist, but this one guy, this one NCO in the locker house, he told me, he stopped the pool game we were playing, and then he said, do you believe in God? And I was like, I don't know, I'm not sure. And then he said, try the Buddhist way. And so he gave me a little Buddhist meditation pamphlet. So I put that in my pocket, and I did try the Buddhist meditation way, and I did learn extreme mental meditation, mind control, which is I could sit for an hour and a half and not think a single thought. And when you do that, you do have a feeling of bliss. Peace does come over you. And it's incredibly peaceful to experience. Now, when my 6 months is up and I drove back from Mississippi to California, I was driving through the swamplands of Mississippi and Louisiana to the scrublands of Texas to the deserts of New Mexico, which are different from the deserts in Arizona. And then when I got to California, that's another form of desert. And it was so congruent. It flowed together so evenly that when I got back to California, I got tired of Buddhism, and then I joined a New Age group, and they handed me a little pamphlet that said, take the lion's leap of faith and believe in God. And I was like, taken aback by that. I said, So in my bedroom, alone, kneeling in front of my bed with the door closed, I was thinking, is there God or isn't there God? Is there a God or isn't there God? Is there God or isn't there a God? Is there God? Isn't there God? Then it clicked. Indeed, because driving through all those territories, there was no way in the world that the world could have been created by accident. It flows evenly. It flows correctly. There is congruency. It all is correct in its own natural form. And I said, okay, toss the Big Bang Theory out the window. And I did. And then I stood up and I looked up and I said, God, you're there. Then a black hole opened my ceiling. God said, yes, I am. It scared the hell out of me because I had never seen, that was the first time I'd ever seen a portal open right over my head. And then the portal closed by itself, and it was gone. Whoa. Now, I have never done drugs in my entire life. I am retired military. It is impossible for me to have ever done any kind of drug. And I have never smoked either. My sister gave me a cigarette when I was 9 years old, and I took one puff and I started coughing so bad. I said, smoking cigarettes is stupid. And I flipped the damn thing away. So yeah, no way I could ever do drugs, ever do smoking, or I don't even take aspirin. So that's the way it is. And We have so much to cover. We have one video after another. We're going to get to the Einstein-Rosen bridge and how God opened that portal. And even this morning, I was thinking about it, and like, wait a minute. This Einstein-Rosen bridge, it doesn't have to be the opening here and the other opening here, where God speaks through here from his throne, and the hole opens in my ceiling. No. It is a portal. It is, wow. These two portals, quarks, can be moved any direction, and they can be sideways. They can be across from each other. But my 5 minutes in heaven, I was up there, and it's 32,000. I got raptured 32,000 feet straight up. And I remember this clear as day. So if you believe in the rapture, good for you. I didn't have any idea what the rapture was when I was raptured. I was refusing to read the Bible. And yet God gave me 5 minutes in heaven, and many years later, 14 years later, I'm reading the Bible in Revelations 21. That's what I saw in heaven. The pearl gates, the jasper wall, the tree of life, the river of life, the throne of Christ in his Shekinah glory, the crystal city, the people in the white robes. I had no idea about any of this stuff when I was there, and I saw it in the spirit. And yes, you have two bodies. You have this physical body here, and you have your spiritual body when you pass on. And I tried, when I was an atheist, I bought a book on how to astral project. I couldn't get it to work. I laid there and tried to get my spirit man to go up through this funnel they were talking about. And it's like, I tried. It never worked until 2 weeks after, I feared God. And then, like that, clockwork. So, like, subscribe, hit the bell. We've got a long way to go and many videos to get to through quantum physics, through string theory. And I'm going to get to why quantum physics and string theory are actually one and the same. Remember this mantra: one string to rule them all, one string to bind them, one ring to bring them all, and in the darkness bind them, and the land of Idaho. Okay? I borrowed that from Tolkien, one of my favorite fantasy writers. Holy cow. So yes, and until next time, c'est la vie, and thank you. Thank you for watching.